Hi, y'all. Welcome to Uncommon Communion. I'm Rick, and I am glad that you are here with me today. Let us begin, as we always begin, by remembering that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of God. So, a couple little special things today. I got a guest with me. I'm going to angle the camera down so you can see her. That is Lucy, the dog, right there. We'll see if we can get her to look up. I guess not. If you were paying attention the other day, you might have seen a black hoodie that I was wearing. That was her face on the hoodie. So, that is where that came from. If you're noticing what I'm wearing today, it says Go Cats, right? Feline, not a canine. And you might think this is a March Madness basketball team. It is not. This is the mascot that represents the high school where my wife teaches. And she was gracious enough to get me a shirt. And I thought today was a good day to wear that. Um, as a matter of fact, regarding March Madness, I'm pretty much boycotting it this year. I really feel that with all of the madness, true madness, going on in the White House and in the Trumpian regime, that paying attention to frivolous March quote unquote madness is really not what I want to do. I want to devote my attention, devote my focus to what is going on where it really matters in our nation, and especially for the people who are being hurt, federal workers, veterans, international folks who are being cut and hurt with Doge and all of those things. So I am not paying attention to March Madness this year. Focusing, if you read my daily posts, I'm focusing on the brackets for the Lenten Madness, right? And those would be the saints. That's where my bracket energy is going this year. So I want to talk a little bit about something I began yesterday, which is following up on the agency where I work. Now, if you watched yesterday's post, you might have seen, you'll recall that I work for a nonprofit that supports folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And yesterday I shared about the people who I was training, four men from Africa, and we were talking about where they were from, Cameroon and Ghana, and I learned a bunch from them. Today I want to talk a little bit more about the agency and one of the key values that the agency holds. Now, I'm not going to name the agency. If you want to know who I work for, you can look at my LinkedIn profile. It's there. But I just want to keep that somewhat anonymous and tell you a little story, just a quick one. So it was about almost exactly 3 years ago when I got a contact from a recruiter. I was between jobs. I was looking for what was going to come next. And they said, hey, we're with this agency. Are you interested in this position? And they sent me the position. And the position very much seemed like it was in my skill set, my wheelhouse, and so forth. So not knowing the name of the agency, I immediately Googled it, which is, what we do. And what impressed me first was the values that this agency puts forth right there on their website. Now, the values I think are pretty important because they really do guide an agency, they guide a company. And of course, they might not be followed, they might just be token, right? In this case, over the last 3 years, I have found them to be spot on and very accurate to the culture of the agency. So the values were that I saw: respect, empowerment, excellence, well being, and then the first and foremost value is love. Now, that really struck me, and it still does, because think of all the other things the agency could have put instead of love, right? It could have been empathy, it could have been kindness, it could have been compassion, it could have been caring. I mean, the list is lengthy. And all of those things are clearly a part of love. But to say love is bold, to say love is courageous, because love in our culture is misunderstood, it's used incorrectly, and it is tough to honor. Well, let's start with the misunderstood, right? We throw love around all the time, right? I love soccer. I love chocolate. I love, you know, the Buckeyes. I don't, but people could say that, right? That's not love. That is pleasure, right? You can substitute in all of those things pleasing to me. Chocolate pleases me. Soccer makes me happy. The Buckeyes make me feel good, except when they lose, right? All of those things are accurate and about like or pleasure. I think all of us know, especially if you're a parent, you know that love and like very rarely have much in common, right? Because love means to desire the good of the other. That's kind of the classic definition. To desire, to want, to work for, to strive for, to sacrifice for the good of the other. And that's what we as parents do. That's what we as spouses do. That's what we as, I think, citizens are called to do. Certainly, as followers of Christ, that is what we are called to do. Jesus says that. They will know you are my follower by how you love one another. Full stop. Love is difficult. And love is not always about liking, right? We love our children. If you're a parent, do we always like our children? Of course not, especially when they're teenagers, right? Especially when they're 2 years old and they're mouthing off to us in the terrible twos, right? We don't like them at those times. They're not pleasing to us, anything but. Nevertheless, we love them. We desire their good. So I really think an agency that puts down a flag and says, we are about love, that's the kind of place I want to work for. And that's what I said when I applied, when I responded to that interest that they put out, the recruiter put out. I said, yeah, tell me more. And they did. And here I am 3 years later, really enjoying and thriving, I think, in the position that I'm in. So I was thinking about love, and I'll close with this today because I was reading, again, one of the things that I read each day, and this is one I've shared from before. It's Meister Eckhart. And what Meister Eckhart says, just a quick review, he's from, I believe he's from the Middle Ages in the church. He was a mystic. And in very, very, I think, clear ways, he is almost kind of the Christian Rumi, if you're familiar with Rumi, and what he offers from a Sufi Muslim perspective. Meister Eckhart has kind of a similar feel to my mind. But here's what Meister Eckhart says, and we'll conclude with this little prayer. And see if you can count as you listen how many times the word love is used. Okay, I'm going to quiz you on that here at the end. All right. When I learn to love you simply because you are love, I come to accept myself simply because you made me in love, and you never stop making me. And when I hold on to this and let go of every doubt, I find your love in everything. And I become love in you, and you become love in me. So, to count how many? Yeah, it's 6. He mentions love 6 times. And if you look at this, how it's written, as I'm looking at it here, there's like 5 little stanzas. So every stanza plus 1 gets love. So as we continue through this Lenten journey, as we reach the 3rd Sunday tomorrow, I hope it has been a journey of love, a pilgrimage where you are finding love as you go, and especially giving love and recognizing that it's like breathing, right? A breath is in and out, and love is in and out. When we receive, we can give, and when we give, we receive. And it is the greatest mystery, I think, of all. And to kind of conclude with this idea of the madness that we are facing, I continue to be convinced that the only thing that's going to get us through this is love. And love that we share with each other, especially those people who we may be different from. Love that drives us to make commitments, nonviolent, peaceful, difficult, civil, disobedient commitments which I believe are on the horizon, and also, especially, for the love that we need to nourish us as we do this difficult work. This difficult work as followers of Christ, this difficult work of being planetary pilgrims, and if you are an American, a United States resident, the work that we do here. So I hope you have a great rest of this day. We'll see you again soon. Blessing and good. Be well.